Hello and welcome back to my channel, you guys. I'm so excited because this week we're going to be talking about something that seems to be one of your favorite things, and that is scheduling. So how to schedule the perfect year. This is something that I have worked for years on, and it really started in 2018. I have told you guys this before. I used to be a hot mess and I was so chaotic, but I was doing my best. And I think that was the hardest part. Like, everyone is always just doing their best, and you obviously always want to be able to give grace to others and to yourself. And as an adult, you are called to have it together. And I feel like scheduling was really like the foundation that I needed to be able to stand on, to make sure I was on time, make sure I wasn't overwhelmed, make sure like mentally, spiritually, emotionally, I was healthy. And my yeses needed to be yeses and my no's needed to be my no's. And so I want you to kind of be able to look at the year ahead and schedule out so that you do have that foundation, so that you are set up to be healthy and happy and showing up in the places that you want and saying no to the things that are good so that you can say yes to the things that are great. So that's kind of the mindset we're going to have as we move into this, and I'm going to just take you through my whole process. So let's get started in building your favorite year yet. First things first, you have to plan your year separately in like two elements. You need to plan your personal and you need to plan your professional. When you're ambitious and very career driven and you have your own business, it is really complicated in times to do that. And if you're a corporate girly or have a job that you love and you're still watching this applies there too. If you love your work and you believe you are put on earth to fulfill purpose that your work does, then sometimes it's really easy to sacrifice your personal life. And I just want you to understand, both are really important and both are really key for success in each other. You need a professional life usually to have a great personal life, and vice versa. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. So you just have to be in that headspace. So we're gonna just say that first and foremost. After we realize that, we have to do our second thing, which is reviewing what worked this year and the year before that. So I just want you to kind of think through what worked this year. What went really well? What on the calendar was absolutely dreadful? What was your favorite month? What was your lowest month? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, when do you feel like you're blossoming? What was maybe your highest income month or your highest fun month? Really sit there, go month by month, and just go through your Google Calendar or your written calendar and allow yourself to reflect on that and take notes. Once we know where we've come from, it makes it a lot easier to figure out where we want to go. So I'll touch on this at the end of the video, but I'm gonna say it in the middle just because I need you to understand this. You have to be flexible with your approach on this. A lot of the things that we might write down may not happen next year, and a lot of them may happen and then way more than you could have ever imagined. Things will just come as they come, but planning allows us to feel grounded so that we can feel prepared and in the know, in harmony with life more so, instead of just kind of getting hit in the face with everything every single day, every single week, right? We have to be flexible. You have to have open hands with this, but also planning does give you an edge because again, you can feel like you know where you're going. So keep that in mind, keep your heart posture open to what is going to happen, and allow yourself to dream in this and know that whatever comes to pass will be what is supposed to happen. So as we plan for the next year, before we write anything on the actual calendar, I want you to think about your not to-do list. So you just went through all of the months, the highs, the lows, the good things, the bad things. I want you to write 5 things down that you're not going to do this coming year. And I'm a yes girl. I love to respond to the outer world. If my friend wants to go to the gym, I'm there at 5 a.m. If it's up to me, that's not as easy for me. I know how I process. That might be true for you, it might not be true for you. We all were just built differently, but you have to understand what motivates you internally, externally, etc. And you have to understand what you need to leave behind that's actually keeping you from showing up in the way that you naturally show up, in the way that you want to show up. Because usually we're balancing between those two things. Think about what is not coming with you? What is your like not to do list for this upcoming year? At least 5 things need to be on there. One thing that you should know, and I'm going to talk about this more next year, is there are seasons where you're just going to be able to say yes a lot, and there are going to be no seasons where you're just like, nope, I can't, nope, I don't have space, nope, you know, this is a priority. However it comes and whatever form it's in, I just want you to understand, like, you'll probably need to embrace that for this season. Is this a yes year? Is this a no year? The year I'm going into next year is actually a no year, but I've had 2 yes years where I could be like, yes to new things, yes to trying X, Y, and Z, yes to, you know, failing here and winning here and coming out on top. That felt really, really good for me. But this next year, I know what I need to do and I'm really clear on it. So it's very much a no year for me. That to-do list of what not to do is super clear. And again, that creates space for my yes. So I want you to make sure that, again, yeses are pretty easy to list out, those no's are clear, and then we'll get into the planning. First, you have to establish your routine. So I just want you to think through day to day and week to week, how are you spending your time? You don't have to like write and diagram this out. I'm actually gonna do another video on this eventually, but right now, are you working Monday through Friday? What hours are you working? Do you have specific things that you're gonna be doing after work on different days? Kind of have that top of mind for yourself as you're scheduling things. If you have 5 nights of engagements after work and you know that, then you probably don't have a lot of space for new things. So keep that in mind and be committed to whatever you've said yes to in your routine. If you have a lot of space open, then keep that in mind, right? You might have more to give in other areas, or you might be looking for more extracurriculars and friends and things to do. That's important. So I want you to really think about how you're spending your days and your weeks. You only have 52 weeks every single year and they go really fast. So at least know in your mind what you want that to look like, and then be able to move in that direction, obviously, as you're getting your weeks and your months down. So I told you we want to have 2 separate parts of our life, our professional life and our personal life. So we're actually going to put your personal in first. Your personal life always trumps your professional life. You were not created to work. You just weren't. You were created to do good things and to love and to be loved. The output and the things that you achieve, those are just kind of like fruit of your life. They're not the point and the end all be all of your life. And the more you're able to realize that, the more healthy you'll be able to feel as you are creating things in your professional life. I want you to put in family time and friend time. So whatever that looks like for you, I know we all have different situations when it comes to that. Whatever is true for you though, like get time in there for it if it fills you up. Allow yourself to know when you're going to see your parents or your siblings or your friends. Allow yourself to know what weekends you have each month that maybe you could go see a friend or have someone come visit. Get those down. Even if you don't know who it would be, allow yourself to know, like, during this month for 2 weekends I know I want to travel, maybe I'll want to receive someone and like host them this weekend. Kind of get a good bearing of that, and at least 1 week in a month I would say, like, have a personal connection grow. That's always a big rule for me. So that's the first thing. Second thing is vacation. Where can you rest? I would love for you to get to a place where you can take a vacation every single quarter. And it could be just like a 3-day weekend. It doesn't have to be like, you know, a European trip for 5 weeks. Like, we don't have to go that hard in the beginning, right? We could just start with intentional rest and maybe a staycation, or maybe just like a movie marathon with like close friends at home on like a Friday all day or something like that. Give yourself some space to dream on that, but put that in because that is something that really refills your cup. This one is interesting, and I think for years I wouldn't have agreed with it, but after this year I am a big believer. I do think you should have like some kind of like side project that has like nothing to do with what your professional or personal life is. I realized as I've like gotten older that I like need to do things with my hands so that my brain can kind of like unwind, because I have a very like mind focused work and I really love to connect through my mind with people that I love. So I need to be able to like turn it off. Being able to do like pottery or baking cakes, that really gets me out of my brain and into my body and is really helpful. So do something that isn't for work, that isn't for anyone, it's just for you. And maybe for you, you like are always in your body and you love that, and maybe you need to do something more cerebral and in your mind. What could that be? Like, should you join a Sudoku? Like, random, you know, online group or something like that. Like what can get you going in a different way than how you usually are every single day. So I want those in first, and then from there we're gonna put in the professional elements. Okay, so we're going to schedule out in segments. So this is true for how I schedule in weeks, months, and you guessed it, years. Even my 10-year planning has these same exact segments in them. So I think that they're that important. And I want you to really just follow through with me and write down what would feel best. You can totally pause the video if you need to kind of like think through them, because I'll go through them fast, but all of your year needs to have these elements in there first. So first things first, I want you to schedule in the fun and social elements, like I said. So we've now done that with your friends, with your family. Put all of those in. That's the first thing. The second thing is going to be now like career events, career goals, when you're working every single day. No, like, you know what, I work Monday through Thursday, so I know if it's gonna be a 10 a.m. on a random Tuesday in 2024, I'll probably be in my home office. Allow yourself to kind of like get that in there. So literally in the calendar, put like when you're working, and you can do this around vacations, you can do this around family time, around social. Make sure that's in there and it's accounted for, because it changes the game when it's actually in there. And then again, being able to put in career events, conferences, anything like that that may be on your radar, allow yourself to at least like put them in the margin of your calendar so that you can kind of like keep your eyes and ears open if something does pique your interest during that time. Okay, the third thing is personal development. So that very much entails, like I said, conferences, events, reading, anything like that. Put that in next. How can you like be growing? How can you get uncomfortable? For some people, personal development might be like jumping out of an airplane or taking pilot lessons. Or for others, like I said, it might be going to a conference that has to do with your specific niche in the industry, or taking a specific course, or reading a book. So allow yourself to kind of have some space in your calendar to do that. Then from there, obviously spiritual. So this is a personal thing too. I would argue that your spiritual element really should go in before anything else, because it really starts with your routine. But if you know, have specific Sabbath days, sometimes that changes. Like there are seasons where I'm taking a rest and a Sabbath on a Saturday, and there's some seasons when it's Sunday. There's some seasons it's Monday for me. So it really just depends on like how everything is playing out for you. Because it's not going in first doesn't mean it's a priority, but sometimes the way that you're serving or showing up might be a little bit different than like a traditional week, especially if you are ambitious and a creative. So make sure you have that time where you can just like spiritually get locked in. And then the last one, so this one's relational. Again, this isn't a specific order on importance. It's more so like how things move in the calendar. And I've really found that these are the best ways to do it for me, at least. And I bet probably for you too. I love people. So doing relational last, even though I've been able to put really important friend and family time in first, this allows me to kind of think of the things I'm not prioritizing. So are there like friend dates I want to go on, date nights, things like that that I know I'm going to prioritize that feel really fun and easy to do. They still need to go in the calendar, but they need to go around the things that I might avoid, like checking out my finances once a week or something like that. So just make sure you have representation of all of these elements in every quarter, and then you're seeing kind of how they're working week to week. From there, this is kind of the last part that's really important that I want you to listen to. You're thinking of the year in 4 parts. You're thinking of this in segments very naturally. Really, the year divides into 4 parts very naturally, 3 months each. I want you to kind of think through, as a business owner or someone who's, again, very ambitious and career focused, what needs to happen in order to stay ahead of what's coming to you. One thing that's really cool about owning a business or being really ambitious is that we're responding to things. We're creating ideas, and then we're putting it out there, and we're getting data, and we're responding to things. Like that's what you do every single day. Whether you're an artist or an analyst, that's just like the truth of it. You might just feel different ways about it and have different output, but it's all the same. You are going to get better every single quarter. If this coming year you can continue to implement week over week and month over month, figure out where the highs and lows are when you're in them, have a really nice way to reflect proactively and get better, there's no way you cannot come out on the other side of 2024 so much smarter and more aware, and just overarchingly more of a leader for yourself than you were when you started. So that really comes down to the quarter formula. So what I'm gonna have you do is write down goals specifically for your first quarter of the year. What income do you want to do? What are the main activities that you need to do to create that income? I want you to think through all of that and get really clear on just the breakdown of what you're going to be spending your time on based off of your goals. From there, you will be able to do quarter 2 as well. So quarter 2 is April, May, and June 2024. That's still a little bit farther. We're like missing some data before you like really solidify that, but you can still kind of know how spring went for you last year in the beginning of summer and how it felt and what worked and what didn't work. So I want you to allow yourself to, again, get really clear on the things that I listed about Q1, what you want to do, how much revenue you want to make, what you need to sell, and what you need to do in order to do that. And then from there, that will give you a really nice place to reference what needs to happen. And then look at your calendar for this year and make sure you have space to actually do those things. For me, if I was like, I want to sell 1 million of this product, will I even have 1 million of that product? Best case scenario, if I just do the math and look at my schedule and my budget. No, probably not, right? If I'm just like making this up out of nowhere, I would need to like really get grounded in what's possible. So I want you to really get grounded in what's possible, because each quarter does build off of each other, and knowing like these are my goals, these are my actions for each one of them. And then your third and fourth quarter of the year specifically will firm up and get more clear as we're going through the year, which is where this practice I'm going to take you through really becomes important. Once we've created quarter 1 and quarter 2 outlines, then you need to be able to go in and put in weekly time as a CEO to look at the analytics of what you're creating. I do Monday afternoons. Whenever you can is going to make the most sense, but put that on your calendar, week over week, CEO time. From there, you need to be able to put in a CEO audit the last week of every single month. So you're gonna look at all of your sales, all of the marketing, you're gonna look at all of the output that you've been doing, what your team is doing if you have a team, and you're going to just take a snapshot of what worked and what didn't. And then during that audit time, you're going to then be able to really double down on what worked for that next month and that next month and that next month, right? So every single week, we know we have our CEO time to look and audit and figure it out. We know at the end of every single month, we're gonna have our CEO audit time to figure out what's working and then change the actions. And then from there, we're going to do a personal quarterly review. So the last month of every quarter, so that would be March, June, September, and December next year, I want you to put in a 3-hour meeting on a Monday or a Friday with yourself where you can actually go through the previous 3 months and see what worked and what didn't, and then literally get rid of and stop the things that were not working. So often, as ambitious people who are big idea people, we are very committed to the ideas that we've had, and we don't want to get rid of those ideas. Sometimes your ideas or your solutions can become your darling, and that can be the thing you want to nurture, but realistically you need to nurture the business and what's working. Sometimes we have to like go in and we have to kill our darlings, right? So your CEO time is going to let you look at the numbers, look at the data, which really simply can be, who are my clients? What am I doing for them? What are the things that bring me joy? What is making me money? How can I do more of that, right? When you ask yourself those questions and then get into the data even further than that, and then do more of what's working, you are consistently growing. And that's really the way that you want to spend next year, I'm willing to bet. And then the last thing is going to be beginning of each quarter. And I would do this literally like the first week of every quarter. Allow yourself to have a planning meeting. So you've looked at, the audits from each month. You'll be able to look at specifically the review of what you felt about the quarter before, and then allow yourself to then actually get on paper what the plan is for that quarter. You're giving yourself 4 different areas every single quarter to check in, and then each week and each month a place to really figure out what's working and correct yourself so you don't go off course, and follow the breadcrumbs of really what is getting you where you want to be. That is really what sets like winners apart from people who are just spinning their wheels. So I hope this was helpful. This is the important part. I need you to understand that there are just going to be things that don't go to plan. There are going to be things that you thought would work that don't work. There are gonna be people you hire who you think are perfect who aren't. And there are gonna be so many amazing surprises along the way that are even better than you could have ever imagined. And so I want you to stay really flexible and like open to what the process brings you. You are playing a very long game in business. We just planned out a year, but realistically, if this is your career, you're gonna be doing this for like 30 to 40 more years possibly. Remember that 2024 is a year where you can take massive ground, you can learn so much about yourself, you can grow in really big ways, and it's also just 1 year. And it's not life or death. So have fun along the way, figure out what works, and then do more of that, and everything else is gonna work out. At the end of this year, I really just pray and hope that you are able to know yourself better, you're able to know your business better, and you're able to thrive in a really great way because you know how to foundationally set yourself up and roll with the punches from there. So good luck. I am so excited for you. Drop any questions you have in the comments below and make sure to hit subscribe so you can see the next video. I'll see you guys later.